The best personality on TSM. You know what? Hey, you know what? I don't like it, but I love it at the same time. I don't like it, but I love it.
What is that supposed to mean?
You know what it's supposed to mean, man. We in esports, sometimes you gotta take your feelings out of it, and it sucks. It sucks. I love watching Haze interviews. I love what Haze brings to the scene, and I hope that Haze continues being successful in this space. But let's be completely honest. The same way everyone sat there and looked me in the face and said, if Ethan comes knocking, you answer. When Brax comes knocking, you answer as well.
All right, let's keep cracking on here. We talked about HLTF already, so I mean, I'm interested to try that on my 2 hours a week that I get to play Valorant. PogChamp. Let's talk about some roster moves here as well, because we've got some pretty high-profile names sort of making moves this week, especially as it's kind of that lull week between Masters and of course between Challengers kicking off again. So this is the prime opportunity for teams to make some of those changes now before it's too late. First and foremost, it was rumored and like people were checking this a whole bunch. They saw that TSM were playing without Hazed, and they could see that because I don't know, they're doing that thing when they look at the friends list or whatever.
Correct.
Brax has been listed on TSM's Battlefire roster here. This is, I mean, we wondered where, first of all, kind of wild. He's not with AZK. We wondered where he would be going. TSM, I would say, a very high profile suitor, and Brax is a very high profile pickup, especially because I think TSM Sentinel players have actually been under the most scrutiny as of late.
Well, that's the issue right now, though, because I thought that Brax at some point didn't want to play Sentinels anymore. He didn't want to play a Cypher anymore. He doesn't want to be that lurk clutcher. That's why even at some point he even went to a Jet with T1 before he left the roster. So does he want to go back to a Sentinel and try to replace what Haze used to do, or is that going to be a full revamp of TSM again?
I mean, this guy's not an IGL, right? So, no. I mean, Cutler is the IGL on this team, to my understanding, right?
Yeah,
that's right. So I don't think, I think Cutler is a legit IGL, personally. Yes. I think he's unbelievably experienced.
Yes.
This is concerning for Hazed fans. I'm a Hazed fanboy. I'm a Hazed fanboy.
I love Haze.
I identify as a Hazed fanboy.
Yep.
I don't know if I like this.
The best personality on TSM. You know what? Hey, you know what? I don't like it, but I love it at the same time. I don't like it, but I love it.
What is that supposed to mean?
You know what it's supposed to mean, man. We in esports, sometimes you gotta take your feelings out of it, and it sucks. It fucking sucks. I love watching Haze interviews. I love what Haze brings to the scene, and I hope that Haze continues being successful in this space. But let's be completely honest. The same way everyone sat there and looked me in the face and said, if Ethan comes knocking, you answer. When Brax comes knocking, you answer as well. Brax was known as a prodigy for a reason. And Brax, you know what? I don't see him picking Jet. If he wants to go duelist, have fun. We can see if TSM can run the 3 duelist setup again. But I think their greatest strength is the fact that, and you have to be a fool to argue against it, Brax as Cypher was fucking scary. Not only could he hold back and just be a tank on site, but the fact that he could actually be aggressive and op and be a fucking phenomenal rifler, and he could clutch his ass off. He is the all-around player that a team like TSM needs, because the thing is, and I've used this analogy for TSM this whole time, I compared them to the Warriors when Moses was on the show, because my man loves basketball. Shout out to him. I said, you take a look at a team like the Warriors, they live and die by the 3. You take a look at a team like TSM, they're going to live and die by the 3 duelist setup, the aggression that they bring, right? But now you have an option to slow it down. This is something that TSM hasn't been able to embed in their strong points. And this is a pro. If you're going to be a team that wants to go against the likes of Sentinels, even FaZe, you can't always be 100, 100, 100 and depend on the opping and, Drone's great Phoenix player or whatever. You're going to have to bring it back at a point in time when you're behind. If you're behind, you can't just rush and hope for wins. You're going to need that player that can change up the game. And Brax is the pace that they need, man.
I did CSM, were they really lacking young, talented players? Drone, Wardell, Sabrosa.
Exactly.
What is Brax supposed to change?
Let's not pretend and act like we're in an era of video games where, you know what, there has been excuses for people that play support roles or whatever. But at the end of the day, if you have a support player that can pop the fuck off, why not? That is awesome.
I think
is scary. Look at a proto.
Yes, for sure. But I think looking back at TSM again, though, that roster on paper never looked bad.
Never did.
Every single person that you could name in that roster is still pretty good, and they have their moments where they could shine. Where they were actually lacking was basically agent composition, strategy-wise, or whatnot, right? When you're thinking about what Mel was saying before, or even what Achilles was saying before, how the meta is shifting towards something that's very utility-based, they were still running and die by the code of keeping a Jet right now into their roster. If they want to evolve maybe a little bit more towards like a 100 Thieves type of playstyle, they have to revamp the whole game plan. So maybe just adding a player into that is not going to be the solution as of yet. So for example, Brax comes in and plays a Cypher, or Brax comes in and let's say plays a Jet. You're still missing potentially that Breach or that Sky or whatever you just mentioned before, right? So you kind of have Cutler that could play Sky here and there, but then now you're missing a Silva. So they're still missing that type of like game plan that's gonna allow for them to be able to bring more utility back into the fray.
Wait, wasn't Sabrosa playing Sky?
He was actually. He did play Sky with Silva playing with Cutler playing Sova as well. I think that was on Haven when they went double initiator.
It was like on like Ascent. I used to see them do that.
Yeah.
Okay, so
but see with that they still
How
had
does this
Wardell on a
fit?
Jet, for example, or they still had Drone playing like a Phoenix, maybe even trying out Raze at some point, right? So they're still lacking like
I
Maybe
think
put
they're
Brax
relying
in
too
that
heavily
role?
on Drone to play these different duelists. Like, do we need to grow up from the Op Academy era on this team and see Wardell start to
potentially.
I mean, because the
he
guy
can
can fucking
rifle.
rifle.
Yeah, he
he's
can
a
rifle.
sick rifler, right? So it's not like you need to be using the Op the whole time. But is there a sense where, like, you'll notice, I think in Korea, for example, a lot of teams are going away from using Jet.
Yeah.
We've seen that in Europe as well, a lot. Is that a better direction than this? Because I mean,
I mean,
I don't
Pansy
think
says
Wardell's,
meta.
I don't
I
think
might agree
Wardell's
here.
play style is in the question though. Like, should we look at his play style for the
Well, I
question?
think
don't
Wardell's
think
play
that's
style
it.
is limited against teams that have structure. He's great at picking apart teams that like play extremities and play loose because like people just like fall out of position and he snaps them up and he's not punished, right?
Mm-hmm.
But when I saw like especially TSM in their matches against Gen G at times, like it was a little bit hard for Wardell to find picks without getting punished by Huyn, for example. Teams with structure or teams with like good trading
Huyn,
protocols.
yeah.
It's harder for Wardell just to fucking yeet out into like the middle of the map on a center or whatever and find a pick and then just get away.
So do we put it on Wardell then, or do we
I
look
don't
at the team as a whole? Because I honestly, I'm gonna say this: great players do great things, and you let those players do those great things. I don't think Wardell is a detriment to the team, and even
No,
when he has
definitely
an off
not.
game, he still finds a way. I think that with that being said, if you have a player that specializes and he's actually like with an op, let's be honest, Wardell is someone you don't challenge at all. I say you keep him doing what he's doing, but the overall lineup from what Van Silly was talking about, that's the biggest question to me now. Because do they have this bare bones comp, or do they, change up, bring back the Sky, which I think they should for their lineup and their comp and their play style.
I mean, look, this team didn't fucking qualify for Masters. You know what I
They
mean? Like,
failed. They changed their lineup in meta, man.
you can't this can't be a thing, right? That what they lost, they got rolled by Luminosity and then lose to 100 Thieves in the lower bracket 2-0. Like I mean that was like I think they played Icebox against 100 Thieves and got kind of rolled, which is kind of expected. But we shouldn't be expecting them to get rolled on any fucking match. This is TSM. So look, and they were good. I think TSM were at their best during Triple Duelists. Then they tried to dabble a bunch with Hazed on Sage. Hazed looked particularly good on Sage. Their team though didn't. They as a whole didn't look great. Hazed moves to more Killjoy. What if this team goes single duelist and puts like Wardell on a Sage or something? Like there has to be some different. I just don't see how Brax is supposed to solve their problems.
That's it.
I'm
it's
not seeing it.
That's
it's
right.
Like it's like taking Shinobi out of C9. Like I didn't really see how that on its own was supposed to solve their issues.
Yeah,
I like it a lot, man.
I
Wait,
mean, they're
what are you
good
thinking,
players.
Vance?
All of these 6 players that we're mentioning for TSM and for Brax are all good players. But again, where I side with Uber is that it's not. It won't fix the issue that TSM has right now. That they're still trying to figure out. We're still trying to figure out too, because
What their identity is.
This brings variety to their identity, though, for the simple fact that, I mean, you had Haze on Killjoy last time against 100 Thieves, and, if we're looking at Killjoy Cypher play, who would you rather have, Haze or Brax?
either or, it's the same thing.
There is no either or. If you're going to have Cypher or a Killjoy on your team, would you rather have Haze or Brax. And I'm saying
Actually,
this
they-
as someone
they can
that
both play
loves
both.
I
It
prefer
doesn't matter.
seeing how weak the calling has been for TSM, or at least evidently to us, their calling seems to have been lacking because they're not short on fucking talented players. I would rather see
They're
like
very
a
talented.
voice like Hazed on this team instead of Brax. So I don't. I mean, he played with
So,
fucking Days. Do you
this
think he
is
was
the thing.
calling? Like,
This is the thing then.
Mhm.
So who needs to change the role? That is the thing right now, though. I think that the team with Hayes or with Brax is great. First off, I don't think they needed a team change at all. But now, who changes their role up? That's what needs to be
I feel
pointed
like
out.
they commit to trying to play triple duelist all the time, or they have drone play Rays and they play single.
I say
they play
triple
single duelist and
duelist.
they work with. Look, think about
Triple
it. We're
duelist,
going
man.
into a meta where like Viper and Astra are going to be the thing. I don't know if you can keep playing like even double duelist in many of these situations without losing something. If you're trying to get the most out of this utility.
Yep.
I don't want
Sure.
variety. I don't want
Yeah.
variety in identity. I want a fucking identity. I want something to go, this is how TSM plays because it plays to their strengths. I don't want them to try everything. You know what I mean? This is not.
What would you like
they
to
have to-
see from them? Well, what type of
like I said,
play style would you like them to have?
Like I said, you can. You honestly think you can potentially drop the jet like a lot of teams are doing. Keep the raids, or just take one duelist, right? And make use of drone's flexibility here. We're going into a meta where Viper is frankly far too strong. Now you might just sit Haze on the Viper and let him do that on certain maps, but
Ooh, Haze on Viper,
probably-
I
I
forgot
don't
about
think you
that.
drop the jet though. I don't think you like Wardell. I say we just leave him alone though. Like change up
Okay,
the
but
team
see,
play style, but you don't. Wardell is
if
great,
anything,
though.
let's say Viper is OP and Hayes has been a fun player that or a person
It worked
that's
out for
always loved
Cloud9
playing
when they
Viper, right?
removed tens, right?
Yeah, but so he loves playing Viper, and then he could take Viper over here. Maybe put if you really want to keep Wardell on a jet, then you have drone maybe switch out to a breach as well. You need to add that utility, the flash and dash again that we always talk about too. That could help out too. Yes, it's going to take out away from the star power that that drone could do as a non-duelist because he is a great duelist. But I think if you want to have that winning mentality for TSM and you want to try different things, I think you just have to try to change something drastically where the support system is going to work at least to benefit one duelist. So maybe
Drone
one duelist
on-
would be the way.
Drone on Breach for Sky, I am all for it. I think Drone could pop the fuck off on that road, to be honest.
man.
I think
I
assuming
think
that you
Drone is
still keep
extremely
the-
talented, dude.
So what do you think about Sabrosa on Astra? Is there a world where that
No,
happens?
no, I don't like that. You know why? I think
Well, he's
I
playing
think,
the Omen right now, so who's going to do it?
which is weird because when I think about the three duelist lineup, Sabrosa was one of my favorites in the trio. So like to have him play back as Astra is kind of like a waste. Put Cutler on it.
Okay, who's playing Sova then?
I don't fucking know.
You know, here's the problem. Like, I think you still need Sova. Anyway, this is maybe Drone plays Sova,
I
right?
like this talk
'cause-
though, Uber and Vans.
Yeah,
I really do.
yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I'm probably just a little biased towards boomers, and I think like reducing that boomer zoomer ratio doesn't make me feel good. But I mean, we'll see.
Now you're
Losing
going back
Hayes
to-
is gonna
we're
be
going
a
back
big
to what I
blow,
was
though.
talking about with the 6-man roster. Don't we
His
feel bad that if we
maturity.
have somebody that has to leave?
I love Hayes' I'm not gonna say his maturity because I don't know him as a person, but his presence on TSM just felt powerful.
Dude,
and
he is
I
mature,
really
man.
like that.
You should check out his streams. It's super chill. He's super lax. He's the guy that's going to be able to keep your your
Which
team
is
calm and cool, right?
scary.
Like that experience that he has, like him and Cutler are both boomers, right? But somebody that is definitely very vocal to like keep the team together right now is I feel that it's Hayes at that point too. Not saying that Cutler wouldn't be able to do it, but I think Hayes
It's
does add a
Hayes.
lot to that team.
I feel like removing Hayes from the team is gonna change the chemistry tenfold. And you know what, man? It actually sucks because I don't feel like Hayes should have got replaced. But the fact that it happened, can't fucking cry about it now.
It's
right?
not guaranteed yet, though, right? It's just like Brax
Right.
was there
I
and
just-
Also,
practicing,
this
but
is the
it's
sixth-
not guaranteed.
The 6-man
This
roster,
is a s-
though.
yeah,
like,
okay. I mean, listen,
someone's
no,
going. Someone's
some teams
going.
can do it, but you trying to fucking tell me that someone like Brax is going to just sit on the sideline and be like, yeah, I'm okay with being
It's
six.
fucking
Yeah.
Brax. Brax is a franchise player,
Right,
man.
exactly.
He's a team
I'd
you
rather-
build around.
You know, he's thinking, fuck me, I'm going to go join BBG at this rate. Like, I'm not going to be a 6-man
Brax
on
is going to be
TSM.
on TSM. The question is, who's going to lead?
Yeah.